It's Kevin Owens versus Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania at the KO show.
You serious?
Yes, I am serious. Stone Cold Steve Austin has accepted the challenge of Kevin Owens to be on the Kevin Owens show at WrestleMania. Not a Kevin Owens versus Steve Austin match, but Steve Austin showing up to the Kevin Owens show at WrestleMania after the invitation was thrown out there by Kevin Owens. Now, this is exactly how WWE has worded it in their YouTube videos and in their Instagram social media posts. So it is technically Austin showing up at the KO show. Now, these are my honest thoughts on this. WWE has officially broken the emergency glass, hit the emergency button, and got the one guy, the last guy, last legend possible that we haven't seen in the ring for a long time. First, it was The Rock. We had Shawn Michaels come back. We've had other guys come back. Sting show up in WWE. But this is the one guy, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the biggest star in the history of professional wrestling to this point, coming back to have a pseudo match, not really a match, show up there and probably get into a bit of a brawl with Kevin Owens. I don't think we're going to get a match out of this thing. But, you know, what are you going to do? They've kind of thrown a Hail Mary here and gotten Austin somehow, some way. The man who has said multiple times that he wouldn't come back. Mostly he wouldn't come back if, you know, it wasn't a good idea or a good storyline, but I guess this is good enough for him. Who knows how much they paid him to get him to say yes to do this. Remember when it was Austin and Heyman on the Stone Cold podcast on the network, kind of set up a match between Austin and Lesnar that Austin said he got in a little bit of trouble about. We've had it multiple times before where Austin seemed like he was going to come back to take on guys like CM Punk and stuff like that, but we never got it, and this is what we're getting. All these years later, we're getting pushing, you know, late 50s Steve Austin to come onto the KO show and, you know, have a talk show experience like Roddy Piper did. And will we get some of that? Something similar to what Roddy Piper did at WrestleMania. This is cool, but not really what you thought it was going to be, because it is the KO show, like I said. Now, Austin is up there in age, but we've seen older wrestlers show up now. I mean, we just saw what a 60-some-odd-year-old Sting did in AEW. You know, in a big match, on a big pay-per-view, in a big spot, jumping off, landing through tables and stuff like that. Now, Sting, super old. I don't really think he needs to be doing that stuff like that, or needs to be even on AEW television, really. But I'm a huge Sting guy, maybe as big a Sting guy as this guy. But, you know, we get an Austin back here at WrestleMania. These are my honest thoughts on this. I think it's going to be cool. I mean, we saw WrestleMania 32. I was there in person when Austin came out along with Mick Foley. Shawn Michaels attacked Rusev and crew there, and also the New Day. But here we are actually getting kind of a one-on-one confrontation between him and Kevin Owens. Is Kevin Owens the right guy? I guess if you had to pick somebody at this point in time, yes, because he does use the Stone Cold Stunner. That's really all there is to it. But this is what we're going to get. I'm excited, but not that excited, because I understand why you can't do a match with Austin at this time. They probably came to this agreement with Austin only a few weeks back, maybe a month or two back. Probably not enough time for an Austin after being out of the ring since, you know, WrestleMania 19 being his last match such a long time ago, to get into ring shape, to get into just physical conditioning to be able to have a match that, you know, Austin would want to have. He would want nothing less than a good match out there, and if he knows that he cannot perform at that level, he wouldn't do it. So obviously that's why we're getting this KO show thing, talk show, with probably a brawl and a beat down by Austin, send the Texas crowd home happy. It's not really the way I envisioned it, but it's the way I kind of understand it's gonna happen, and probably the right decision at this time period. If it was 10 years ago, maybe you can get away with Austin doing a match, but right now this just isn't the right thing to do in terms of a match. But it's gonna be a fun experience to see Austin out there. Now, again, this is the last guy that really WWE has in reserve that we hadn't seen in a long time that would actually make a big pop and make a big statement for an event like WrestleMania. You know, they've used so many other guys already. This is the last guy we thought we'd never see come back and do something physical in the ring. Again, this is not going to be a match, but whatever it is, at least he's there to do it. And it could go 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. It could go 15 minutes. Who knows how long this thing is going to go, but we're going to get it. Austin going to the KO show at WrestleMania. I think it's a Saturday night, night 1 of WrestleMania. We're going to see it. I don't know how good it's going to be. Austin usually does good stuff, so we'll see what happens there. But like I said, they broke the emergency glass. They pulled the lever. They got the final guy that they could ask for to come back in Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, what does it say about the rest of the roster? We've seen this before, part-timers coming back for big WrestleMania main events, WrestleMania events themselves, and this is no different. I mean, with all the guys they've released over the past year to year and a half in WWE, obviously they don't have a lot of confidence in guys really putting butts in the seats, making money in these big events, selling those tickets for these massive events. So they always go back to the well of the WWE legends, WWE Hall of Famers, like Goldberg, like Stone Cold Steve Austin, like The Rock, guys like that, Shawn Michaels, Mick Foley, all those guys. We've seen this, so many times from WWE. We complain about it all the time, but it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. So nobody hates Stone Cold Steve Austin. Everybody be excited to see it. Again, KO show, Steve Austin, Kevin Owens. Those are my honest thoughts. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Catch you guys on the next one.